Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the bank. Tyler Henry, Blaine McCormick bringing you a good one. ASU leading it by 12, 7:54 left to play. And heading to the free throw line to take a 1-and-1 here is Remy Martin. Believe it or not, for Remy, just his first free throw from the day, and he's going to leave it short. That'll bounce out, and Washington comes down with a board. So the Huskies coming back the other way. It'll be David Crisp. They've got to make sure they give a lot of attention to him, and that's exactly what Remy Martin is doing right now. Crisp will recollect and step on the brakes, but they can't waste too much time here with 7:37 left to go. They are down big, and they need a couple of points. They need more than a couple of points to come back in this one. They get it in the corner. Here's a three on the way. That one's going to be knocked down. A big three-pointer for Jalen Noel, his first bucket of the second half. Remy Martin to bring the ball back down the floor for ASU. Gets it off to Lou Dort. Dort picks up a screen, driving inside, kicks it back out to Remy. Remy to the corner. Kamani Lawrence thought about a three, turned it down. He'll lob this one back up to the big pitchfork at half court where Remy is waiting. Now he goes back to Kamani. Here's a pass inside to Dort, and an offensive foul called against the Devils. That's going to be against Kamani Lawrence. He'll have to be a little bit careful here.
Yeah, you got to be careful with if you're Kamani Lawrence, because that's already his fourth personal foul, and he's got to be really wary of that because he doesn't want to foul out of this game. He's been a huge part of it. 7 points in the ball game, and now you get Zylan Cheatham checking back in, and Cheatham really has been the all-star. 7 assists and 6 rebounds.
Still just 2 points, but they came at a big time for the Sun Devils and gave them a huge momentum swing. 6:53 left to go. Devils on top, 54-45. Crisp has it right now, gets it back off to Jalen Noel. Those two playing a little game of catch right now in between the circles. Crisp back on it, thought about it, got it off to Noel. Noel driving inside, kicks that one out to Neziah Carter. Carter a little Euro step in the lane. That one's no good. ASU trying to collect the rebound, and Dort is going to tip that out of bounds, so the Huskies will stay with it really quickly. Romello White has changed jerseys, if you caught that little stumble earlier by me. He is now wearing number 30. Could have been a tear, could have been something else, but rather than his traditional 23, he will be in 30 for the rest of the evening. Quick inbound play. Crisp will get a three off. It's an air ball. The rebound, a lot of contact. And a shooting foul is going to be called here against ASU. There was a lot of contact on that shot. It wasn't called by the near side official on the baseline, but the backside man will come in and overrule it. So a couple more free throws coming up here for Sam Timmons.
And that's a lot of confusion on that one because you have one ref saying that it's a shot clock violation, and then you have another one that's saying, no, he's got a foul, and now you got 2 points to try and make up for it if you're Washington.
It's actually Noah Dickerson heading to the free throw line. His first one is up and good. And you can hear the crowd not happy about the call because it got overturned, but I think they got it right there. There was a lot of contact on that shot. You've got to send him to the line.
Yeah, if you have that much contact, especially down in the cylinder, the no contact zone, you've got to call that foul.
Second free throw on the way and through, and very quietly here, Blaine. Washington has gone on a 10-0 run, and the Sun Devil lead has shrunk down to 7. ASU's going to have to be careful here.
Yeah, the largest lead that ASU's had was 18 at one point towards the beginning.
6:25 left to go. ASU will kick it to Kamani in the corner. He turns that down. Lou Dort trying to come in. It's going to be bounced off of Dort's foot. It's pretty easy to see the basketball when it makes contact with those neon green shoes. I never have any trouble spotting Dort out there on the floor, I'll tell you that.
You know, there's a study that's going around of how good Lou Dort is with neon shoes or with other shoes, like what his performance is, because he had a great night against Kansas, but he wasn't wearing those bright kicks.
Tell you what, if it works, I'd like to see him wear them the rest of the season. ASU's going to turn this one over. Back the other way comes Crisp. His shot is going to be blocked off the glass. A lot of contact down low. ASU finally gets out of there. That was a big-time defensive stop. Here's Rob Edwards falling to the floor. ASU will step on the brakes and reset. Lou Dort has it top of the key. Gets it off to Remy on the left elbow. He will pause here. 15 seconds left to shoot. Sun Devils get it back to Dort. Little three-guard weave being played at the top of the key. Now back to Remy. Remy working left to right. Gets it to Dort. Pump fake. Dort driving inside. One more pass and an easy dunk. This time courtesy of Zylan Cheatham.
4 points in the game. Both of them dunks. You take it if you're Zylan Cheatham.
And just like that, ASU puts an end to the 10-0 run, but hopefully the damage not already done. Here's a three. That one won't fall. And Dort able to pull down the rebound as David Crisp can't connect from deep. And we're going to have a warning against the Washington coach, who is almost out to that far right fork of the pitchfork here at the bank. And if you've been here before, you know what I'm talking about. I mean, he was probably at the 1/3 mark from left to right on the floor. So that'll be a bench warning against Mike Hopkins. He's going to have to be awfully careful, as another one will be a technical foul.
Zylan Cheatham had to go over to Bobby and calm him down a little bit. Embraced him, gave him a hug, and said, hey, coach, don't worry, we got this.
Mike Hopkins might want to invest in one of those Sean McVay get-back coaches.
He's had one a couple times.
I know.
I've seen it.
His assistant, very active. Here's Remy Martin trying to go inside. He's going to be stripped, but not before a foul is called against Washington. It'll be a blocking foul as Remy doing what he does best late in games, and that is turn up the intensity. Whether it's taking long threes or driving the interior, he makes the defense uncomfortable. And that'll send it to the line for two. They're going to say it was in the act of shooting. Alika Williams probably likes seeing his base runner on second a lot better than on first. So watch this one go by. Just about chest level, paints across the letters for strike one. Williams on the year, a .362 hitter. Batting in the 7-hole today as the sophomore. And looking for his first hit of the day. Flied out to left his first time up. Big cut at that one. A breaking ball down and away for strike two.
Yeah, Alika started 54 of the 55 games for the Sun Devils a year ago, switching between second and shortstop. Pretty much become the team's everyday shortstop this year, though.
And even if you can just move the runner up to be 90 feet away with two down, that would be a decent situation as he taps this one up by the box here. Foul to keep it at 0-2 count.
You hear with a runner at second and 0-2 count, you're just trying to push something towards the right side and at least move the runner up.
So we'll see what he does here, but either way, Williams shortening up on that bat a little bit. Doesn't want to go back to the dugout empty-handed.
Another reason to push it towards the right is the second baseman's holding on the runner at second. A little bit of a hole there.
So Connor Gramis comes set, the 0-2, and try to get him to chase one down and away. Nothing doing there. The count's a 1-2. But yeah, a lot of space there if he can just poke it through. He's got a couple of options for gaps to hit.
Base hit to right would likely score the run.
So the shortstop digs in once again, trying to fight his way back here. Here's Gramis with the 1-2. That one comes inside, just about got Williams, but he's able to dodge out of the way just in time.
And that's a pitch when we've seen Gramis working out of the windup that he'll throw a little lower in the zone, try and brush that inside corner, and just command, especially working up in the zone, has been a little bit wild for him out of the stretch.
So see if he can settle down here. He did a good job getting ahead of Alika, but since then, Williams has fought his way back. 2-2 count. Here's the pitch. And again, coming up and inside. And it doesn't matter if it's been a lefty or a righty. That spot to the left of home plate and high is where he's been missing a lot of these pitches.
Right, and it's especially been out of the stretch. We've seen that pitch be lower in the zone, either tagging the outside corner for a lefty or the inside corner for a righty. That's been the good pitch for him so far. We saw him throw that one earlier in the inning.
Williams stands in, payoff pitch, and he'll foul it off. We'll do it again. So a good job of staying tight on that one and not being fooled. So Connor Gramis going to have to dig into his toolkit and find something to put Alika Williams out with here. Not paying much mind to the runner over there on second. Gage Workman taking about a standard lead. Gramis comes set. Once again, we'll do it. 3-2, ball four. Down and away. Seen that at time or two as well. And Alika Williams walks his way on the first.
And now you're back to that bottom of the order as Eric Tolman will stroll in. And Tolman is a fascinating player. Eric Tolman was recruited by the Sun Devils as a pitcher. And for Eric Tolman, he was the number 15 left-handed pitcher in the country, as rated by Perfect Game, and the Orange County Baseball Player of the Year, but we're seeing him used here as a DH this afternoon.
Well, apparently they like the way he swings a bat, obviously, and they've got him in there hitting in place of R.J. Dabovich. How about this, too, Ethan? This Sun Devil team in this game, obviously leading at 3-1, They've only had 2 hits. The base knock for Workman and the home run for Hunter Bishop, as that one misses for ball 1. But aside from that, guy reached on a drop third strike, 2 walks, and a hit batter.
Yeah, it's really been the command that we've talked about from Gramis. Once he gets a runner on base, it's been tough for him.
Tolman looking to make something happen here with 2 on. Now watch another ball go by. That one comes down and low around the knees to make it a 2-0 count.
We'll see what kind of a leash Gramis is on here this afternoon, and he might be throwing a lot of pitches here in this second and third inning, as we'll see a couple guys head out to the pen over there for Xavier.
You mentioned they liked Tolman. He was hit by a pitch, and this is just his 3rd official at bat. Coming into this game, he had 2 at bats, still looking for his first hit of the year.
Lane Flam is the reliever up in the bullpen for Xavier.
So we'll see if he comes in back-to-back nights. Pitched last night as well. Here's a ball tipped foul back to the covered section down the left field line by Tolman. So that'll bring the count to 2-1.
Solid outing for Flam a night ago. Came in for 2/3 of an inning, didn't allow a run.
Yep. One of the other options that this team has for a starter. We have seen him start a couple times this season, but obviously tonight they give it to Gramis, and he has looked pretty good for the most part. Tolman stands in once again. Here's the 2-1 from Gramis. That one is roped into left center field. Back to the wall, trying to make the catch is Major. He can't do it. All runners will move up. They will wave the runner around. He's coming home. Throw at the plate is not in time. Gage Workman scores from second on a big-time double from Eric Tolman, and there's his first hit of the year.
Yeah, how about that for Tolman? What a camp paid for him here in his freshman year so far. He's done excellent on the mound, and now gets a chance to swing the bat and drives in a run with a big double.
That will move Alika Williams over to third, and how about Gage Workman? He had to wait to see if that was going to be caught. Aubrey Major came awfully close to getting a glove on that, but the second it hits the wall, he takes off, and that blazing speed gets him all the way home for the 4th Sun Devil run of the afternoon. As things sit right now, a lot of people think that the Super Bowl contender group is made up of 4 teams. Those would be the 7-2 New England Patriots, the 8-1 Kansas City Chiefs, the 8-1 LA Rams, and the 7-1 New Orleans Saints. My question to you, Alex, is there a 5th team that you think is a genuine contender to make it to and potentially win a Super Bowl, or is it just the 4 teams that I mentioned?
I think there are a couple of teams that could sneak their way into the competition if they continue to be hot. Those 2 teams are the Carolina Panthers, because Carolina kind of slipping under the radar this year, but they have been really good. They're 6-2, only a game behind New Orleans. They won 3 in a row. I know last week they beat the Buccaneers, but before that, they beat the Ravens. They have some, and they beat the Bengals earlier on, I believe. So they have some wins there, and at home they're 5-0. So offensively, they've looked really sharp. Cam has looked pretty good overall. He does have those seasons where he kind of goes up and down. This year, it's been pretty mellow, and the defense has looked a lot better than a lot of people suspected they would, coming into the year. So I would say the Panthers could probably sneak in. I certainly wouldn't favor them over the Saints, because the Saints' offense is just absurd, and they felt it wasn't good enough because they brought in Des Bryant. And so not a bad option for your 3rd receiver or whatever he will be for them. And then I'll move it over to the AFC, because obviously you have the Patriots and you have the Chiefs, and there's one team there that, dysfunctional as they may be, the Pittsburgh Steelers have won 4 games in a row.
Without Le'Veon,
because James Conner is probably a better pass catcher than Le'Veon was. He may be quicker. He's definitely quicker. Le'Veon is a special kind of runner with the patience and able to exploit holes, but James Conner has been absolute stud all season long. I mean, this guy is 2nd in the entire league in rushing yards, only behind Todd Gurley. So he has been a revelation for this team. He's really been kind of the savior. The defense has been good enough, and the offense, as bad as they started, has looked pretty good. So I would say those 2 teams kind of sneak into title contention for me. But I feel like I've been talking forever. So now
No, you're good. That's fair.
Tune in.
I think the thing that confuses me the most is the Carolina Panthers. As you mentioned, they have been on fire, and I didn't really know what to make of Carolina because we had a podcast with Koki Riley who joined the show last week,
That's
and
right.
we've continued to say, what are the Carolina Panthers? Because you look at their early season wins, and yes, they won, but it was an 8-point win against the Cowboys. It was a loss to a Falcons team that then just looked awful. It was a narrow 2-point victory over the Giants. I mean, it was stuff like that we were looking at and we were going, there's no way this team can keep it up. But at the end of the day, the only thing that matters is whether or not you pull off the win. And Carolina has continued to pull off the win. Now, you said that Cam has been, doing good but not great. He's actually looked pretty phenomenal. I would argue this is maybe his best year other than his MVP season.
Okay.
When you take a look at the numbers this year for Cam Newton, he has been surprisingly good. 15 touchdowns to only 4 interceptions.
He has not turned the ball over.
Extremely
really
mobile with his legs, even more so than what I think we've seen out of the last couple of years. So with Cam playing at this peak level, he doesn't have a ton of yards, but the part of that is attributed to the fact that Christian McCaffrey has been a bit of a monster at the running back position.
Yes.
They've added depth there as well. They shored up that offensive line in the offseason, and this defense has looked awfully good. It's kind of done what it's needed to do. Obviously, Luke Kuechly, one of the best linebackers in the entire league. So you take a team that, I completely agree, this team scares me, and they especially scare me because in the NFC South, the Saints definitely hold a lead right now. I mean, you look at where New Orleans is placed, 7-1, Panthers 6-2, but they're hanging in there. They're not going away, and the New Orleans Saints, I'm a fan of theirs. They have to play the Panthers in 2 of their last 3 games to close out the season.
So fun scheduling. That's fun scheduling. That's great.
And here's the other thing. I think the Rams will continue to hold on to home field possession, but if they don't, here's the situation you get into if you're the Saints. You could literally go from having home field possession in Week 13 to being a wild card team by Week 17.
Absolutely.
This could turn into a bit of a roller coaster. So watch out for the Panthers, and as you said, watch out in the AFC for the Pittsburgh Steelers, who, do they get Le'Veon back? He has to report in the next 4 days. Where do you think things stand with the Le'Veon situation as it sits right now?
I have no idea.
Neither do we.
I genuinely have no idea. There was reports that Week 7 he would come back around their bye week. Crickets, didn't really hear much. Just the only thing we heard was that he's not coming back, and then
the tweet.
Now you think that, he said peace out Miami, and they're like, he's going to come back this week, and then we just haven't heard much, and then he came out with another big tweet today about judging him in upside down lettering and stuff like that, and we're just at this point we have no idea, and I am prepared to I'm sure they're prepared to go on the rest of the season without him because James Conner's been so good. You'd love to have him back because that dual threat would just be, with those 2 running backs, would be insane, but honestly, I don't know if we see him this year. I'm starting to lean towards no.
Yeah, when they started the year off 1-1-1, there was a lot of talk of they need Le'Veon to win. And they've proven over the last couple of weeks that, no, we really don't. And so, as much as I'm sure they would like to have him back, the way this whole thing has played out, the fact that he's been seen playing basketball in a Pittsburgh gym, he has not contacted the team yet. And again, he only has 4 days left. So he will for sure not be suiting out this week, but the drama will have a couple more days to unfold before my 3rd overall first-round pick in my fantasy draft either decides just to not play football this year or comes back to the Steelers. So keep an eye on that. Let's go away from that a little bit and let's get into the fun stuff. The playoff picture as it sits right now. So the 4 teams that we talked about, Chiefs, Pats, Rams, Saints, all projected to be in right now.
Sure.
Which would leave the following 8 teams in the wild card game. The playoffs began today. The rest of the AFC playoff pool would be the Bengals, Steelers, Chargers, and Texans. And let's just get into that first before we get into the NFC.
Okay.
Do you see that changing a lot, a little, not at all? I mean, you look at these teams, again, Bengals, Steelers, Chargers, Texans. Do you see any change between now and Week 17 in the AFC playoff picture as it stands right now?